Hi guys, it's Steph here with Crafty Ladybug. This lesson is going to be on our beach blanket for our beach Barbie to go along with our beach series. Of course, you can also have your beach dad laying on the blanket or one of the kids that are in this beach series. But to begin this beach blanket, we are going to be using a technique designed by Kate from Izzylicious Designs, and it's called the Move It Forward technique. It's where you use a single loom and you pick up your pegs and you transfer them over. So follow along with this process. I use this technique also when I created Ursula. So if you did the Ursula lesson, this one's actually going to be easier. But what I want you guys to start with is to unpop your top and your bottom pegs. And then I want you to move them over to the third row. So your loom needs to look like this. Your center is secured with all three, and then your top set of the blue peg holder, I don't know what they call this for real, but that thing just goes right there and slide it in onto what would be peg number 3. Our arrow is going to be pointing towards our body. So we're going to be using, today I'm using white and pink and blue. White, pink, and blue. I didn't do a band count on this. I just kept doing it until it was ready. But I'm using white and blue will be about the same number of bands, and I'm going to need extra pink. So if you guys are doing it 3 colors, make sure you have a lot of one color, because that's going to be what we use for our bands going across, our horizontal bands. And I'm sorry I don't have a band count. Hate me later for it. Don't ask me, because I'm not going to sit here and count them. I'm not going to lie. It's just pointless for me to waste time to count them today. So let's get started. Like I said, our loom set up very much like this with the columns straight. Our very first band that we need to lay, we are only using single bands, so one band. We're going to take one band and we're going to place it on the end of peg number 3. And this is actually going to hook up with peg number 4 and so on as we go through the looming process. Another single band going from the right peg to the center, and another single band going from center over to the left peg. Now our next step will be to come all the way down the left side of our loom with a single band. And this is just basically you're laying a single chain this whole entire way down. Nothing too fancy about this. As stated, just one band the entire way down the loom. And as we get to the bottom, we're going to stop on the very last peg at the bottom. So at that last peg at the bottom, we're going to need to do some extra things on that, but it's going to have to wait until we get peg number 2 and peg number 3 filled up. So filling up peg number 2, I'm going to start with a single pink. And then I'm going to alternate to a single blue, a single pink, and a single blue. A single pink. Struggling with that one. And a single blue. I'm just alternating the colors right here. Single pink, single blue. And that one didn't get on the peg all the way. So there's my single blue, my single pink, and the next one is going to be a single blue. Now, before I lay the bottom piece across, the white piece, we need a white piece down here, I have to move up and do column number 3. Column number 3 is going to start with a blue. Because we started this one with pink, I'm starting this one with blue. And then we're just going to keep up with the alternating of the colors coming down the loom. Single, pink, single blue. Single pink, single blue, single pink, single pink, single blue, and single pink. Okay, now that we have got that on and straight, we're going to take a single white and we're going to place it right here on our loom on that third peg. And the reason for that is because we need to pick it up when we come on to peg numbers 4, 5, 6, yada yada. Another single white going from right to center, and another single white from center to left. Now on our left peg over here, we need to take a single band, wrap it around our hook twice, and place that on there as a cap band. Now we're going to be ready to loop, and I'm going to loop up. Oh, nope, I'm not ready to loop. I am ready to lay my horizontal bands. I forgot about those. Don't forget about your horizontal bands, guys. I'm using pink because I have a limited number of blue and white today, so I am just using pink for these. And it's very simple. If you've ever done a triple single chain bracelet, it's just that simple as far as laying the bands down. And you guys are experienced at this by now. If you're attempting this technique, you should know how to lay horizontal bands. So now we're ready to start to loop. And I'm going to loop down here on peg number 1 at the bottom. And I'm going to grab the band that I first come to, which is going off to my right, the center peg. And now on that right one, we're going to reach in, on that center one, we're going to reach in and we're going to grab that white and we're going to carry it off to the next one. Now when we get to moving these, that's going to be a little tricky because we've got this guy to worry about. But you know what? We're going to do this. This is pretty easy. If you want it to, you can let it, nah, don't let it sit there. It'll get in the way for the next step. Okay. I'm getting sidetracked today, I'm sorry. Too much coffee, too much soda. Okay, push back on your leftmost peg, grab that single white, push back on that cap band, horizontal band, and this is just straight forward looping. Nothing real fancy about this, just like you're looping a single chain, but you're pushing back on the horizontal band that's there. You just want to keep on going all the way up to the top. And once you get to the top, we're going to stop. Once we link in that top one, pushing back, we're going to stop right there. Now I need to do peg number 2, row number 2, the center row. And once again, straightforward, simple looping all the way till we get to the top. Nothing complicated about that. It's okay if it falls off. We're going to pull it off in just a minute anyway. Keep going and going and going, and now we've reached the top. Okay, now at the top we need to reach into our left and grab that band that's going horizontal. So link it over to the center. And now for that center one, we need to pick that up and out and link that over to the rightmost peg. Now this one here, I'm going to let you know that we're going to have to pick that up and we're going to have to move it on another step in just a little while. It just needs to stay there for a minute to hold those bands in place, to hold this set of bands in place. Now for our next step is where it gets a little tricky, is where we're going to be moving column number 1. We're going to unload that peg and we're going to unload peg number 2, and we're going to make that here as number 4 and number 5. So just simply take your loom, and I have to turn mine for this process. Just take your loom and unload pegs number 1 and 2. Being sure to keep peg number 3. You don't want to lift up those items on peg number 3. So just unload pegs 1 and 2. And we're going to tuck that down slightly in between there. See how that just kind of fell right into place right there? You want to keep your horizontal bands on peg number 3. And now comes the fun part. We're going to pick our loom up and we're going to take peg number 1, row number 1, and we're going to move it over to be number 4. Ooh, don't push too hard. I forgot that there wasn't something in there and it made a little cracking noise. Peg number 3 and move it over and it becomes number 5. Now we need to begin the whole process again. We need to take a single white, lay it on here, which is the end peg. We're going to take another white and we're going to lay it from center to right. And now you'll see that this one, which was the one that we left dangling on the first set that we did, needs to just come over and link right in there. So that band was already placed on the loom for you. Our next step is to load up these pegs again, lay our horizontals, and then we can loop and transfer again. Since I ended in blue and I'm alternating colors, I need to start with pink. So I'm doing pink and white and pink. I'm sorry, pink and blue and pink. And blue and pink and blue and pink and blue and pink and blue and pink and blue. I'm not ready to lay these down here at the bottom yet. Sorry about that. Not ready to lay those down there at the bottom yet because I have to come back up here and start at the top again. I started that one with pink. I need to start this one with blue. And this is very simple and easy. You're just alternating your bands all the way down. I'm going to fast forward through this part on the next episode. So be sure to watch or on the next couple screens. Whoops, I'm talking and not paying attention. I'm supposed to be alternating my colors. But as I do this part after this transfer, I'm going to fast forward through because you guys know how to lay single rubber bands straight down the loom. You don't need to hear me say pink and blue and pink and blue and pink and blue and pink and blue. Okay, I'm to the bottom. Single white placed on your loom and dangling over the edge. Single white going from right peg to center. And then we're going to pick up this white that's dangling right here and slide that over the center. How simple was that? Now, the only other thing that we have to do before we start to loop is lay our bands, our horizontals. And remember, I'm using pink. And these are going all the way across your loom, just as if they were a triple single chain. Single, triple chain, whatever you guys like to call that. I'm amazed that everybody calls everything something different. But that's okay. We all have our own little niche and way of doing things. Okay. And now my horizontals are all laid. Now I am ready to start to loop. And I'm going to start down here at the bottom. And I'm grabbing my top white. Pushing back that cap band that's there, that band that we already linked in. And I'm going to carry my white over once. I'm going to reach into that center one and I'm going to pick up that white and carry it over again. Now I'm starting back at the left peg again. I'm going to reach in and I'm going to loop up. And I'm going to reach in, pushing back the 2 horizontal bands now. And loop up. And you're pushing back the 2 horizontal bands and you're just going to keep going forward until you get to the top. And then we're going to come back and we're going to do the second row. And we're going to leave the third row unlooped. Need some elevator music in the background today. Okay, so I've reached my last one. And remember I said we were going to have to pick up this white one? just simply take your finger and pick up your white loop. Just hold it for a second and finish off your blue loop forward, and then bring your border, which is my white, back over. Okay, so that linked that in right there. You picked up your white, you laid your blue, you replaced your white. I'm going to start with the second row down here at the bottom, pushing back my band as a cat band, and I'm pushing back that single horizontal on this one, and I'm just going to continue to loop all the way up to the top, and once we get to the top, we're going to move our horizontal bands over, our white border. Okay, I'm at the top of the second row now. I'm reaching into the first row, and I'm grabbing that white that's all the way at the bottom, and I'm bringing it over to the center. Then I'm reaching into the center, pushing back everything that's there, grabbing the white, and moving it over. Now we're ready to take off, move our base, and lay everything again. And we're actually going to do this for a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 rows before we add the border color of 13. So there's actually 13 wide total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 total across. And it actually works out so that we're only spreading across the horizontal over 3 pegs total. So that's why that worked out to be that way. Unhook your base, move it over. Now you're going to be ready to take off your rows number 1 and 2, which aren't actually 1 and 2, but they look like 1 and 2 right now. So just being sure to hold down the other items. Keep your row number 3 held down because you don't want those horizontals to pop up. And then you just want to slide that down in between there. Oops, see, a horizontal band just fell off right there, but that's okay. It'll go right back down on there. Now I'm ready to transfer my first row over. And now I'm ready to transfer my middle row over. And as I said, we're just going to keep on doing this until we get to 13 rows total. Row number 13, we're going to finish it off in white and then close up our whole loom. So I'm going to begin by laying a single white again at the top. I'm going to take a single white and go from right to center, and then I'm picking up this white that was here dangling and I'm setting it right there. So I don't forget about that band at the bottom. I'm just going to let it sit there for a minute. The band at the bottom, we can't forget about this one, but we need to layer row number 2 and 3 before we do that. So let's start back up here again. I ended in blue on this row, or started in blue, so I'm starting in pink and blue and 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 pink and blue. Actually, that's kind of fun. I just might do the whole thing on camera and you guys can fast forward or stop me if you want to. Okay, back to the top. Blue, pink, blue, pink, blue, pink, blue, pink, blue, and pink, and blue, and pink. Now I can set my white here, and I can set my white from right to center, and then pick up my bottom white and loop that in, link that in. Now the only other thing that needs to be done are horizontal bands, in which we'll secure it on these other horizontal bands. So take your single pink and pink and pink, and we're just stretching those across all 3 pegs. Now this one, the horizontal band had popped up a little bit for me, so I just need to make sure that I tuck it in there. And that one's not down right, and the next one's not down right, but that's okay. We're just going to lock them in there. There we go. And now we're ready to loop. Going to reach into what is my first peg now again, grabbing the white, single white to the right, single white to the right, and now I can start to loop up pegs number 1 and 2, single, push back those horizontals. There's 2 horizontals there on this one, and 2 horizontals. Can't seem to get past the second one today. But you want to reach the single band that's all the way on the bottom. So be sure to push back everything that you come to, because we only want that single band at the bottom. Okay. And we're almost to the top. Now remember, at the top, what do we have to do? Reach in, grab our single, but before we go up with it, we need to pick up our white, lay our blue single, and lay our white back on. Now we're ready to do row number 2. And I'm just reaching in, pushing back the horizontals. And you guys can make this any width that you want. I just did 13 because it almost made it look like a square. So, as I said, you can do however many columns you want. It can be endless. You can make a scarf like this. Actually, a scarf would be kind of cool. Imagine it'd be cold in the winter. Okay, enough talking, Steph. Reach into column number 1, grabbing your single white and moving it over. And we do need to secure this one off, but temporarily we're going to pick that one up and move it over. So now we're ready to take our peg holders off and move them over, and take my peg holder off on the bottom and moving it over. And I'm going to take off rows number 1 and 2. And actually my peg just completely came off, which makes life a little bit more difficult at times, but there we go. I just moved that one over because it was already off and in my hand. And peg number 3 is still here. So we just want to take those off. And we want to make sure that they're getting slid down in that area there. All of those are off. I'm ready to pick up that peg and move it forward. And I'm ready to do my white at the top. I'm ready to take another single white and go from right to center. And I'm ready to pick up my white up here and lay it over. I'm ready to do our rows down. And this time I ended in blue, or started in blue there. So I'm starting in pink and blue and pink and blue and pink, and missed that blue, blue, pink, blue, pink, blue, pink, and blue. I need to come up here to the top and start again, alternating, starting with blue, pink, blue, pink, blue, pink, blue, pink, blue, pink, blue, pink. Back to our whites. White on the end dangling over, white from right to center, and then picking up my white that is right here, already dangling, and placing it over the center. Now we need to layer horizontal bands, which are single pink, single pink, single pink, 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 pushing down that other horizontal, pink, 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 pink horizontal, pink horizontal. I'm ready to start to loop row number, what is number 1 again, reaching in, pushing back the 2 top whites, grabbing the white that's underneath and bringing it over to the right, center peg, reaching in, grabbing the white and bringing it over to the right. Now we're going to loop up. Once again, pushing back those horizontal bands. First peg always has 2 horizontal bands on it. Just continue to loop forward. And pushing back everything that we come to. Now our top peg. Here we have the part that we have to pick up our white, lay our color, lay our white back. Now we're ready to do row number 2. Pushing back and just linking straight forward. And I'm trying to go fast because I know some of you are probably faster than me and you're way done, but I keep missing my pegs. But that's okay. I get a good laugh. Okay, now we need to reach into peg number 1, reach down, grab that bottom white, link it over to the center, into center, reaching in, grabbing that bottom white and linking it over to the last peg. And here I'm going to just move my 3rd column, or my bottom thing, over to my 3rd column. And I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to count. I'm not quite sure how many I've done so far, but I think this might be a series of my last ones. So I'm just going to count. Here's peg number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And then I will have 12 and 13 to do. So pegs number 10 and 11 are going to be colors. You're going to need to do your alternating colors again. So we do need to do this one more time before we add our white border. So starting at the point where I need another peg to start laying, we're just going to take off peg numbers 1 and 2. Move that over. And number 2. I'm going to pick that up and move that over. Okay. Now we're back to the drawing board again for similar steps that we've already done. Single band, dangling over, white from right to center, and then you're going to pick up your white that is here and lay it over the center. We're going to lay down, since this one started with blue, I'm starting this one with pink, and blue, and pink, and blue and pink and blue and pink and blue and pink and blue and pink and blue. And then we have to start back at the top again. We're going to be blue and pink and 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 blue and pink. And we need to take a single white, dangle it over the edge, a single white, move it from center to right, and then we're going to pick up this white here at the bottom and lay it there. Our next step is horizontal bands. And for the horizontal bands, it's a single pink, 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 pink, single pink, single pink, single pink. We're ready to start to loop again. And we're going to grab our white and move it over to the center. We're going to grab our white and move that over to the right. And now we're going to loop up pegs numbers 1 and 2. Pushing back the items that are there. And that horizontal gets me every time. It's tight there for some reason. And just keep going up the loom. We're almost there, guys. Got one more set to do. And that set's going to be alternating colors and then white. There we go. We're almost to the top. And I'm at the top, where I need to pull out my single, lift up my white, lay my single blue, lay back my single white. I'll start off at the bottom again, looping straight forward. And keep it coming forward. Nothing too fancy or hard about this part, just very repetitive. But it does look cute when it's done. Okay, I'm at the top. Now I need to reach into the first peg, grab the white, move it to the center, reach in through all that, grabbing the white, moving it over to the center. And now we're ready to move our pegs. Unloading pegs number 1 and 2. And I really wish there was an easier way to do this. Actually, that wasn't too bad. Just kind of flipping it out. Lay that there. I know that you guys can't see, but I can't hold it down with anything else. So I'm just sort of covering my hand over the light part so it doesn't fall off. Okay. Picking up my pegs. And I'm going to move it over. And I'm just going to recount one more time to make sure that this is peg number, this should be peg number 12 here and number 13. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So I need to do alternating colors, and this set is going to be white. So we need to take a single white, because we're still working on our border, lay that up there, a single white going from right to center, and then we're going to pick up that band there and lay it over. Now we'll be doing the alternating color. Pink, blue, pink, blue, pink, blue, pink, blue, pink, blue, pink, and blue. This last row, your row number 13, lucky number 13, is going to be all white. We need that band right there because we need to secure it off. So that's going to be a securing band. But for these rows coming down here, everything is going to be white. And just as I stated before, single white band. You're just laying it all the way down the loom. And I've reached the bottom. And for the bottom peg, you're going to be taking another single white and you're going to go from right to center. And then you're going to pick up this white one that we have here and lay it back over the center, much like we did the other steps. And then we need to lay our horizontals. This is our last set of horizontals. We're just going to lay those across. And continue to lay those out, being sure that ones don't pop up. There we go. And now we're ready for our last set of looping. For our last set of looping, we're going to push back that first column, grabbing the white, move it over to the center, push back that center one, the two whites, grabbing the bottom white, move it over to the right, and then we're going to stop right there. And then we're going to loop up column number 1, and we're just going to keep looping, pushing back those horizontal bands because you know there are 2 of them there. And I wish I knew jokes, could say something funny and entertaining. Knock, knock. Y'all supposed to say who's there. I don't even know any good knock, knock jokes. But that's okay. There we go, we're at the top. We're picking up our white, we're laying our blue. We're going to lay our white back over. And now we're going to do our column number 2, or our center column. And there is an end in sight. I can't sing either, so I'm not even going to try that. And almost to the end. And we can take this first one over. And now let's work on our row number 3, our end row. Pushing back those 2 bands that are there as a cat band. And we're just going to loop straight forward on all of this. Pushing back your cat band. And see, I know there's an end in sight. I want to go faster. I start to get excited as I see it coming together on the loom, and then it's like, oh, pray I didn't miss anything. I'm looking back at it and I'm thinking, did I miss something? But I don't think I did. I think we did good this time. This is only my 4th retake of this video. I must admit, the beach blanket has given me problems. I would miss a link somewhere way over here and not realize it until I was almost done. So you're looking at about a 45-minute video right here that I've redone 4 times. I'm tired of looking at the beach blanket. And I'm tired of saying pink and blue and pink and blue and pink and blue and pink and blue. Okay, back on track, Steph. Enough coffee and caffeine today. Center band. Pushing back that center band, reaching in to grab your bottom white and loop it over to the right. And now we are ready to get our dangle band secured off. So I'm going to just pick up my loom, push back all those bands there, and I'm getting my white dangle band at the bottom, and I'm just going to pull it out. And I'm going to place it on there like that. I'm going to slip knot it off. And now we're just going to take it off the loom. And pray, fingers crossed guys, that we didn't miss any links. I pray for you that you didn't miss any links. Hallelujah. I got it this time. 4th time's a charm. Thought the 3rd time was supposed to be the charm, but it looks like the 4th time's the charm. So there's my beach blanket. And there it is in red and yellow and white and pink and blue and white to go along with our beach Barbie in our blue outfit. So guys, we have successfully completed the beach blanket using Kate from Islicious Designs Move It Forward technique. She is a great and wonderful crafty friend of mine. Go visit her channel. I'm sure most of you already know that we're pretty good friends. We kind of share techniques and ideas back and forth. So here we go, Beach Barbie on her blanket. Don't forget to visit the beach guy and his kite, and I will have some seagulls flying around the beach, picking up candy on your blanket or your hot dogs, whatever you take to the beach with you. And I hope you guys will stay tuned for more and other exciting episodes and videos.